I want to be clear right from the start. This is not a political video in the sense that it's not about left or right, red versus blue, none of that sports team nonsense. Because the situation right now is obvious. Most Americans don't want to go into an offensive war against a country that never attacked us. And if you really want my full political take on the situation between Iran and Israel, maybe I'll flash a short text wall on the screen or something. And I'll talk a little bit about the geopolitics of the situation at the end to my best understanding. But this video, this message is not about that. It's about how people like me and other young men around my age actually feel in this moment. In this moment when we hear things about escalation and a possible draft or World War III, even if it's in a joking context. When we see the images and the videos of missiles lighting up the night sky, politicians puffing out their chests as if they won something, and even though I'm someone who's fortunate enough to live in America, where I don't have to fear my home or my city being struck by some kind of missile, this issue means a lot to me as well, and it should mean a lot to you too, if you're anything like me. Right now, as of this moment, it's not just talk anymore or memes you'll see on an Instagram reel about World War III or us getting drafted. Trump has just launched a major attack on Iran's nuclear sites. And we don't know how they'll respond, but there will be a response. When they do respond, the whole cycle of escalation kicks into motion. The truth is that if things ever do end up spiraling out of control, it won't be the people in the suits or the politicians on the TVs paying the price. It'll be the people like us, whether in America, Iran, Israel, or any country involved in this. Men who are young, broke, and already tired of carrying the burdens that we didn't create. We're the ones they'll expect to show up when something happens. And on the surface level, all of this might look like international politics, but underneath it, there's something much deeper, something more existential and personal. Because this moment, this declaration of war, is the logical endpoint of a society that's been telling young men for years that our lives do not matter. In every fundamental area of life, from the education system where it starts, to the job market, to the dating market, the economy that we're living under, and now war, every step of the way, we've been told that our lives do not matter. Where this messaging starts is, of course, the education system, even from a very young age. For young men, especially, the system isn't built for how we learn. From the moment we enter school, we're told to sit down, shut up, follow the rules, listen to the teacher, raise your hand when you have to go to the bathroom, and just do what we're told. We're ranked, judged, standardized, taught to memorize and regurgitate, not to think critically, do your own research, or find purpose. We're scolded for being restless, for being active and energetic, for not being a model student. Our natural strengths are oftentimes labeled as toxic. Our curiosity is crushed. And throughout the education system, we're oftentimes either bored into submission or labeled as problems to be medicated. And over time, the gap grows. Obviously, women also have their own fair share of problems that they deal with, and I'm not trying to minimize that. But when it comes to education, boys usually fall behind, while girls, on average, are starting to outperform. And that's fine, this progress isn't inherently bad, but instead of lifting both sides, our society seems to lean into this disparity. For example, with certain extreme DEI initiatives and other things like grants and funding disproportionately benefiting women and specific minority groups, a lot of young men, especially those from average working class backgrounds that are not considered true victims in this sense, get overlooked completely. I'll even take a second to air out my own grievances. I went to one of the top high schools in the country. I had almost a perfect GPA, almost a perfect SAT score. In fact, I was one question away. Math competitions, AP classes, IB classes, all the legitimate accolades you can think of. And I was still rejected from every single Ivy League school that I applied to. Ultimately, things turned out for the best, and I'm grateful for the path that I ended up on. But a lot of young men in my situation got screwed over, and their place at prestigious universities taken by other people who were otherwise less qualified. Because us, as young men in American, or if you want to call it Western society, throughout the whole education system, we're told that we deserve less in return for our efforts, that our lives don't matter. Fast forward a few years, then we get to the job market. We're told to work hard, to hustle, to make a name for ourselves, network, spend hours crafting resumes, applications, interviews, cover letters, all for what? To be auto-rejected by AI bots? To have some asshole in HR decide that your life's work is not good enough? To have to send hundreds, even thousands of applications, spending hundreds and thousands of hours to do so, all in the hopes that one single company will respond and give us the privilege of having to work for them for the rest of our lives, all while getting paid just enough to survive but not enough to truly live freely, and always knowing that at any second we could be replaced by someone cheaper, faster, not even human. Most of you guys know my story about how my job may or may not have been taken by AI. And the point is, you can do everything right in this system and still fail. Follow every rule, show up on time, work late, hit every statistical metric you need, and again, you can still be gone. Downsized, outsourced, automated. And that's not the worst part, because the worst part is that there's a mass gaslighting going on. We're often told that it's our fault. Gen Z doesn't want to work. Gen Z is too lazy. Gen Z is not qualified. Gen Z is not ambitious enough. Overall, we're treated like statistics, like interchangeable cogs of a machine that don't mean anything. And even if we grind and succeed to some extent, that success is not secure as it used to be in the past. One wrong move or one bad month, whether in or out of your control, and it could be back to ground zero. A lot of us carry degrees that we have to work hard to pay off. We work side hustles just to afford groceries. We give away months, maybe even years of our lives, just hoping to get a call back, a second interview, a chance to prove we exist. The message that all of this sends us, our lives don't matter. And then there's the dating market. As young guys who want to find a partner, we're told to work on ourselves and go on this endless hamster wheel of self-improvement. And so we do. We hit the gym, we cut out bad habits, we read the books, we try to become even more emotionally intelligent, more self-aware. We make sacrifices, we build discipline. We grind for years in silence in the hopes that the delayed gratification will come. And still, it's oftentimes not enough. We get ghosted, ignored, disrespected, especially on things like dating apps, which even if you try to avoid personally, that's how most people meet nowadays. We're expected to meet insanely high standards in terms of a lot of things we can't control, like height and looks. And then if we do even one tiny thing wrong, we get ridiculed, told we're too weird, too boring, too nice, not fun enough. It could literally be the tiniest thing, like if you've seen the whole ick list meme, you'll know what I mean by that. And then once again, we as young men are gaslit and told that it's our fault, that men are the problem. It comes from the top down, from Hollywood and pop culture to our education system, and it infiltrates the minds of a generation. Sometimes it seems like no matter what we do, we're either still not good enough, still considered toxic, or that we just need to, again, keep working. It's like a hamster wheel, going and going. Then we open social media and it's, scroll through Instagram Reel or TikTok. It's another clip of someone saying, "Oh, men ain't shit. I don't need no man. I can do it all by myself." What does that literally tell us? That literally tells us that our presence is optional, our value is conditional, our lives don't matter. Even in terms of microeconomics, it's the same story. We try to live responsibly, for the most part, but every year, our hard-earned dollars are worth less. Every paycheck gets eaten up by rent, groceries, gas, medical bills, utilities, and the rest, the government takes its cut. And who knows where that money is going? I think some of you might know. What we get in return is no health care, while certain countries that we give money to through our tax dollars have health care for themselves. We get no real infrastructure developments, while our greatest foreign rival is light years ahead of us in infrastructure. There's not much of a safety net anymore, as a lot of government programs are being cut. And nowadays, we don't even have that much hope of owning a home in the future anymore. The prices have skyrocketed in recent years. So, what's the deal? Wages stagnant, prices up, benefits slashed, student loans crushing a lot of people. And then we're told to be grateful that we even have a job at all. Just pull yourself up by the bootstraps. Back in our day, it used to be a lot harder. So what's, again, the overall message this sends? That our effort means nothing. That our struggles are invisible. That our lives, wait for it, don't matter. And now, As of June 21st, we launched strikes to take out Fordo and Iran's other nuclear bases. All it means is that the people in power are getting more honest with their message about how young men's lives don't matter. Because the message isn't even hidden this time. It's right out there in the fucking open. That we might send you off to die in a war that isn't even yours. Not to defend our homeland, in my case America. Not to protect our families. Not because we were attacked first. Not even because the nation that we're supporting was attacked first. They were the ones who launched the offensive. But powerful people in faraway rooms decided that it was necessary to lie us into another war that we've already seen the playbook of time and time over again through the past 20, 30 years. They call it strategy, we call it what it is, a final betrayal, not only of our country, because it seems like our politicians that should be America first are beholden to a foreign government who influences them through a sophisticated network of lobbying, but it's also a betrayal of young men like me who, even though the chance is not high, every escalation of this war threatens to turn into a regional or even world conflict that increases the possibility that people like myself are sent off to die in this conflict. And another thing I want to add, even if this war doesn't get full blown and we avoid, total annihilation or whatever, it will still affect us, particularly in the areas that it'll hit us as young men the hardest. Oil prices will spike, especially if Iran decides to close the Strait of Hormuz. Supply chains are going to be strained, the stock market is going to swing wildly, so if you have some money in that, who knows where it could go. And overall cultural stability will be shaken. The political divide is only going to get further and further polarized, and it just doesn't bode well for our future as America and as the world. As a rule of thumb, when any conflict breaks out, it ripples across the entire world and it hits the working class first. CEOs will still hoard more bonuses and politicians will still try to grab power, all of that while our rent keeps rising, while our prices keep surging, while we're left with empty shelves and smaller paychecks. While we're gaslighted by politicians and the media that it's all for our own good because we can't allow this rogue regime to get a nuclear weapon. And if you think about it, there is a religiously fanatic country in the Middle East that has nuclear weapons, that has unalived American citizens. That country is not Iran. All I'm gonna say is this: do your own research. Again, when it comes to young men, they've already taken our time, our energy, our money, our dignity, our ability to buy a house, our hope for a relationship and a family, and now they potentially want our physical bodies too. They don't even hide it anymore. The war propaganda is obvious. People call it out. Most Americans don't want this war, or any wars, but the media and the government continues to do it in betrayal of its own population. And if things get serious, the people being sent first aren't going to be the politicians, the CEOs, the people in the news media calling for this war, the people who started it. It'll be the disposable ones, aka the young men, the ones who were always told through everything that our lives don't matter anymore. As the old quote goes, war is when the old and bitter trick the young and stupid into, let's say, hurting each other, just because I still want this video to be monetized, to fight for causes we barely even understand, barely care about, or in some cases outright disagree with. And it's not that we're afraid to fight, we just need something that's worth fighting for. As you guys know, I usually don't talk politics, and I don't plan on continuing to unless it's something you guys want. In that case, let me know. But for me, and I know for a lot of people watching this, when war is involved, it's not about politics anymore. It's about something more human and more painful. It's about realizing that the system never saw us as valuable in the first place. Not only people in America, but also people of other governments involved in other wars around the world. That's the truth of it. And finally, for the women out there, it's maybe you too. It's not just men, it's all of Gen Z in a sense. In some ways, there's a lot to be grateful for, and we can't take that for granted. Technology, convenience, relative peace and stability, at least in the Western countries for a while, up until now. But we were raised on debt, schooled in lockdowns, shoved into a collapsing job market, and now possibly being lined up to get involved in the next huge world conflict. We've grown up being told that we need to do better. We're gaslit into believing that everything is our fault. We're lazy, sensitive, entitled, all while carrying the weight of a broken system we didn't create. We're expected to fix it while simultaneously being blamed for everything that's wrong with it. So, is it a surprise that many of us feel so disconnected? That we don't want another war? That we don't want to sacrifice ourselves for a system that never truly gave us anything back? This isn't about being ungrateful. This is about survival, understanding the world, and using that knowledge to look out for your own best interests, as well as those of your close friends and family. I know this was heavy, I usually don't go here, but I just felt like I had to say something on this issue of war and peace, because it's absolutely ridiculous. Go look around, go ask for yourself, you'll find that almost no young men my age, actually want war to happen. And at the end of the day, you can have your own opinions. I'm not telling anyone what to believe. I'm not telling anyone who to support or what to think. I'm just saying to be vigilant and actually think about things on a deeper level, maybe do your own research, and question what you're being asked to fight for, especially with the media ecosystem nowadays trying to condition us for chaos. And also to ask yourself, why is it that the people at the top always seem to keep getting richer and safer, while the rest of us pay the price? To ask yourself if risking your life for a system that never truly valued you is the definition of loyalty, or just the last step in a long chain of betrayal. If this video hit you in some way, if it maybe put into words something you may have been feeling, or you just agree with my positions, or if you got any sort of real value out of it, let me know in the comments. Feel free to share this video if you want someone else to hear it. And beyond that, I really appreciate everyone who supports me on Patreon or channel memberships. You guys are the ones who really make this possible. And if you'd like to support the channel so that I can keep speaking my truth, and possibly yours as well, any amount of support means a lot. Again, on Patreon or channel memberships, that's what keeps this channel going. That's what allows me to keep being able to do this, and in return you can get in touch with me one-on-one, watch some of my members only videos and live streams, and obviously have your name in the credits and all that. And yeah, also check out my second channel where I post a lot of hiking and travel related videos. Got some really cool stuff on there coming out from a recent trip to California. And just take care, you know. Again, I didn't want to talk about politics, but when my country is literally getting into a war with a major world power and all of the bullshit propaganda is so obvious, I just don't know how I can't talk about it. Let me know what you think.